You. What up, y'all? Young Zav, your boy right here, out here on a casual run on a Sunday evening. And it's time for a little Fake Sports Insider. Real talk about fake sports. Follow us on Instagram at Fake Sports. Check out our YouTube channel at Fake Sports Insider. Let's begin the debate here, folks. Are y'all ready for this one? I know it's going to be hot. I know it's going to be heated. I know it's going to be heavily debated. As usual, I don't spawn to DM trolls who find their identity in fake sports. So just letting y'all know, come at me. I ain't coming back at you with nothing except what I got right here. The question of the day, a lot of people have been asking me lately, is cornhole a sport? No! Cornhole is not a freaking sport. We talked about this similarly last week with pickleball. Let's start with the name. What in the frig does cornhole have to do with throwing corn into a hole? Let me think. Oh, nothing. It's a beanbag toss. If you're gonna make up a sport, make a name that accurately reflects what you do in the sport. If you were throwing a can of corn into a hole, that's great, then call it cornhole. This sport is not anything to do with corn. Nothing to do with it at all. Has to do with beanbags, has to do with holes, and it also has to do with just complete laziness. Laziness? What do you mean? Yeah, another reason why it's not a sport. Cornhole discourages players from training athletically. It requires zero training at all to get good at cornhole. You don't have to go to the gym. You don't got to stay in shape. All you do is sit there, drink a beer, eat a bag of Cheetos, and throw a beanbag across a couple blades of grass into a hole. There is nothing hard about that. There is nothing athletic about that. There is nothing sporty about that. So again, any sport that says, oh, you can be the best just by chilling and drinking beer is not a freaking sport. We talked about that with golf. It's common sense. Also, not only does cornhole discourage athletic ability, it also discourages defense. Defense, what's that? Well, that's what sports have. You have offense and defense. When your guy's trying to score points, you block them. Cornhole has zero defense. All they do is your opponent can try and yell, psych, or psych. It never works. It's so easy to throw the beanbag across a couple pieces of grass if no one's trying to block you. Now, could it become a sport? Does that potentially be a sport? Yeah. Get some defenders in there. Get some bros who are actually yoked, who try to tackle you while you try and dunk your beanbag into the hole or shoot a three-pointer. Then we can talk. But if there's no defense, no sport. Simple as that. Finally, the cornhole scoring system is corrupt. What do you mean? Well, simple as this. Here's how it works. If you land one on the board, that's a point. If you land one in the hole, that's 3 point. Where they go wrong, though, is simply this. If I make a 3-point shot and then my opponent throws his beanbag, again, not corn, beanbag, into the hole, my 3 points and his 3 points cancel each other out. What? Have you ever heard of that in any other sport? Curry hits a 3-pointer. Sick, he scores. Durant comes down, hits a 3-pointer. He scores. Then LeBron comes down, hits 2 3-pointers. Now it's back 0-0. What? No, it's freaking 6-6. Curry scores, Durant scores, then LeBron scores 2. That's 6-6. That's basic math. If a sport cannot do basic math and doesn't know how to add points, it cannot be a sport. Can you imagine that in football? Well, they each scored 8 touchdowns. Final score, 0-0. That's not a sport, bro. You don't subtract points when your other team does good. You add your points, then you add their points, okay? Simple as that. The debate's settled. Cornhole, not a sport. They discourage you from working out. They've got a name identity crisis similar to pickleball. Watch last week's episode if you missed that. Again, not a sport. They discourage defense and they don't know basic math. They discourage scoring. They cancel your points out when your other opponents do well. It's foolish. It's not a sport. To all you cornhole fans, God bless. I pray blessings upon your life, but you are not an athlete and you never will be unless you do something else with your life. So get up, get out, get them, and tune in next week for another episode of Fake Sports Insider.